Tech has launched Tech University Online. That's right, you can now access our awesome training videos 24/7, 365. For all of you tire techs with a cell phone and a little extra time in the shop, show 'em, Billy. There it is. Shop owners, you can also train your entire team for a full year with just a small annual fee. But don't take my word for it. Visit techtirerepairs.com, go to that upper right-hand corner, and check out a great promotion. Does it get any better than TechU Online?
Hello again, everyone. I'm Joe Pryweller, Conference Director for Tire Business. Welcome to Tire Business Ask the Expert. This live stream series is your chance to engage with professionals on the current business environment and to interact with questions. Today's Ask the Expert is hosted by Tech. With us today is Director of Marketing Brent Klomparens. Brent will discuss the use of sound suppression tires to combat the more pronounced low road noise generated in electric vehicles and the repairability of those tires. He will answer your questions after the presentation. To submit a question, email tbevents@crane.com, or if you're watching along on Tire Business's LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube sites, submit your questions through those platforms. With that, I will turn things over to Brent Klomparens of Tech. Brent, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. Thank you to Tire Business for hosting this event. And thank you to the dealers, the tire dealers, the technicians, and everyone else who's tuned in today. Ideally, we'd like to be with you at Industry Week, but this pandemic happened, and we kind of had to change our ways. So thanks to Tire Business for stepping up to the plate and offering this platform where we can reach you to talk about our products and some trends that we're seeing in the industry. So a little bit about Tech. If you're not familiar with Tech, we're a family-owned company. We've been around since 1939. We specialize in manufacturing tire repair materials, and we also distribute tire and wheel service tools and accessories. Our founder, Charles Cornell, actually worked for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in Akron, and there he invented the cold vulcanization tire repair, and then he kind of spun off and created his own business, Tech. And we use that cold vulcanization tire repair today. I'm sure if you're a technician or a shop, you do a lot of them. So we founded that process, and we've been building on that process and those products for over 80 years. And to expand on that, to support our products, we also have, you saw the video at the beginning of the presentation about Tech University Online. This is a new online training portal that we're offering to shops to keep their technicians up to date on the latest tire repair procedures and make sure they're doing the job properly. Right now, we have 5 courses offered on that portal, and we're continually adding courses to it. So check it out, techtirerepairs.com. Click on the training tab and get signed up. You can keep your technicians properly trained, and more importantly, keep your customers safe on the road to make sure their tires are repaired properly. So today I'm going to go into a trend that we're seeing with electric vehicles. So I'm going to talk about electric vehicle sales today and what the forecasts are going forward. That trend being sound suppression tires. Why are they important for electric vehicles? How they're constructed and how they may differ between tire brands, and as well as I'll go over how to repair those sound suppression tires. Next slide, please. So electric vehicle sales today. Today, EVs account for about 8% of total global vehicle sales. Sales of EVs, particularly plug-in hybrids and full battery electrics, are growing faster than experts expected. So OEMs, these are vehicle manufacturers, have invested over $90 billion in EV development, along with EV charging infrastructure. So you can see on that map there, that's the charging locations that are available in North America, and that continues to grow. There's companies like Chevron and Shell and BP that are investing in infrastructure to kind of diversify their offering because they're oil companies, as well as Ford, General Motors, and Volkswagen, who have a lot of stakes in the EV charging infrastructure. And we all know, we've all seen the Tesla supercharger network out there. So although the infrastructure is being built and is there, the majority of EV charging is actually happening in the home. It just makes sense. You get home, you park it in the garage, you plug it in, you don't have to worry about it. But those who want to travel long distances, there's infrastructure being built. Next slide, please. So what's driving EV sales? There's government incentives that lower the total cost of ownership. For example, $7,500 tax credit in the US for the first 200,000 units sold by a manufacturer. I think the only manufacturer that's sold over 200,000 units is Tesla at this point. So if you buy an EV from another company like Ford, you will get that tax credit. And there's, the continuation of tighter regulations on tailpipe emissions. And further legislation, like I'm sure a lot of you have seen that California has banned the sale of gas-powered vehicles by 2035. That's a big deal. Experts expect other states to follow suit. And falling battery prices. That chart on the top left is the percent of the total cost of the vehicle that's associated with the battery. You can see by, I think it's 2025, that will drop below 25% of the cost of the vehicle. And the extended ranges these batteries are allowing. That chart on the bottom is the ranges that are offered by various vehicles that are on the market today. So up to nearly 400 miles on a charge, which exceeds a lot of mileage that you get out of a standard gas tank. So, the extended battery, the lower battery costs, the extended ranges, the declines in the price of the batteries will allow automakers to sell fully electric vehicles for less than gas power cars as soon as 2022. And other factors are, charging at home on average costs about a quarter the cost of versus fueling your car with gasoline. So that's a factor. Your total cost of ownership will drop throughout ownership of the vehicle. Service, wear and tear on the vehicles. There's a lot fewer moving parts. You don't need regular oil changes. The motor is much more simple than internal combustion. And brakes don't have to be replaced as much because the regen that the motor does to recharge the battery. So there's a lot of factors that are driving EV sales today. Next slide, please. So the top selling EVs, I'm sure a lot of you have seen these on the road. The Tesla Model 3 is leading the way. And these are figures for the first half of 2020. And that's Tesla's mid-size sedan that they introduced in, I think it was 2018. And the price of that car ranges from about $35,000 up to $60,000 for the high performance model. Last year, they introduced the Model Y, which is more of a smaller crossover. And we all know the crossover segment is kind of leading the way across all tire brand or all vehicle brands, and no matter if it's internal combustion or electric. Then Tesla Model X is the larger SUV. And then some offerings from other manufacturers that are selling right now are like the Chevy Bolt and the Nissan Leaf. They continue to extend the range on the Leaf. And there's some premium offerings too that you might have seen from Audi and Porsche as well. Okay. And then coming up on the next slide, we have some EVs coming soon. So Volkswagen is making a lot of investments in EVs. They recently introduced the ID.3, which is based on their Golf platform and that's only offered in Europe. I think they launched that a few months ago. The ID4 is something that they're launching here in the US here in early 2021. It's actually going to be made in Tennessee. That's to directly compete with the Tesla Model Y. So it's a small crossover, offering over 300 miles of range. Ford is leveraging, sure, a lot of Hummer ads that they're actually sold out. They're going to come out. That truck is coming out. It's going to be a truck and an SUV is coming out next year, and it's going to offer. It's going to have like over 1,000 horsepower, even more torque, and a range of 400 miles plus. So that's kind of GM's big push into the market, and then Tesla's Cybertruck will be coming out in 2022 as well. Next slide. So EV vehicle forecasts. Like I said before, early on, EVs are today selling more than experts expected. But looking forward, EVs are expected to outsell gas-powered vehicles by 2040. Right now, they make up about 8% of sales. Within 10 years, they'll average about 300 miles on a charge. Right now, averages are about 200, even though there are some that go over 300. And as I mentioned before, there's the infrastructure that's being built that's backed by all the big OE manufacturers, and they're offering free charging in their network. And this is they're also investing a lot in the fast charging infrastructure. So this is these fast chargers, you can charge your vehicle up to 80% or 80% in around 30 minutes. And if you notice, if you've seen them while you're out and about, they tend to be in like shopping areas with a lot of restaurants. So the idea is you plug in, you go grab a bite to eat or go do a little shopping, and then you come back and your vehicle's charged. And just like any technology, like your cell phone or a flat screen TV, the more competition, the better prices. As the technology evolves, the cost of ownership goes down. So everyone expects EVs to continue to sell and make more sense for the average consumer. Next slide. So with EVs, the cabins are a lot quieter than an internal combustion engine. They're up to 10 decibels quieter. So they're about half, they make about half the noise as a gas-powered vehicle. And this puts an emphasis on reducing tire noise, because that's the next loudest source of noise, along with wind noise as well. But we're more focused on tires here. So consequently, all the tire manufacturers have developed a new genre of tire dubbed sound suppression tires. You might have heard them referred to as noise reduction tires or acoustic tires or sound deadening tires as well. And on the top left there, we have all the different examples of these tires by manufacturer. And they all put their insignia on the side of the tire. I'm not going to go through all those, but they, all the big players offer some kind of noise reduction or sound suppression tire. And these tires are coming OE on the vehicle. And EV owners are also requesting these when they get their tires replaced. And on the inside, so what it is basically a sound deadening material on the inside circumference of the tire. It's a foam, and you'll see it in yellow. Depending on the manufacturer, you can see it in yellow, white, or black. And they reduce, it's found that these tires reduce cabin noise between 3 to 9 decibels as well. So next slide, please. And there's a lot of, especially a couple of years ago, there's a lot of misinformation about the repairability of these tires all over the internet. That the screenshot on the top right there is a Tesla owner he got a nail in his tire and he took it to a shop, and they looked at it and said they couldn't repair it because of the sound suppression material on the inside. And so we decided to cut it open and see what was in there. And that video got 15 million views on the internet. So that kind of spurred a lot of misinformation. Actually, these tires can be repaired, which is why we came out with a repair process back in 2018 to show how those tires can be repaired. And we've also worked with TRMG, which is the Tread Rubber and Tire Repair Manufacturers Group, to develop that process as a recommended practice in the industry. And that'll be posted here soon. It's supposed to be posted this month on TIA's website. And some other technology out there. Honda recently patented a noise reduction wheel, where you can see the image there. And Tesla actually, on the new Model 3s, they're putting double pane glass in all the windows to reduce wind noise. So there's a lot of different ways to reduce noise in these EVs, and they're kind of coming at it from all angles. So now I'm going to go through the tire repair process of a noise or a sound suppression tire. So this repair manual, these are images from a repair manual that can be found on our website, techtirerepairs.com. So basically the process is very similar to the tire repair process you do today. You identify the injury, step one, and then you cut a 3 to 4 inch section out of the sound deadening material with the injury centered on that section. And then step two, you identify the size of the injury, just like you would with any other tire repair. Step three, clean the inner liner with a Rub-O-Matic rubber cleaner, and then scrape it with a rubber scraper to get that any debris off of the inner liner. And then step four, you can use a template, which we show here, to mark the buffed area, the area that you're going to buff to install the repair, or you can use the back of the repair. So I got a repair here. You can put that on the inside of the tire and just mark an area a little bit larger than the repair itself, because you want to buff a little bit larger area than the actual repair. Okay, next slide. Step 5, use a low-speed buffer to buff the inner liner to a smooth, velvety finish. Step 6, use a low-speed drill. Drill with a carbide cutter, the correct size carbide cutter to the size of repair you're using. Drill 3 times on the inside of the tire, and then go out to the outside of the tire and with that cutter and go 3 times on the outside. And then clean that buff surface with a wire brush in step 7 there to get any buffing debris off of it, and then use a vacuum to vacuum out the buffing debris out of the tire. Step 8, apply vulcanizing fluid to the injury with a spiral cement tool. Next slide. And then step 9, you apply that same vulcanizing fluid to the buffed surface. Allow that to dry 3 to 5 minutes. And then step 10, that's our uniseal repair, which is our one-piece repair. Remove the poly from the stem as well as the cap of the repair, and that'll expose the uncured cushion gum. So make sure you do not touch that. So we show the technician there is flip the poly over to protect the cushion gum from being touched. Step 11, apply vulcanizing cement to the tapered portion of the repair. Put the lead wire into the injury, pull it through in step 12 with some pliers, and pull it through until you see a little dimple on the inside of the in the middle of the cap of the repair. Next slide, please. And then step 13, stitch that repair down with a stitcher. pull that poly out, remove step 14, remove the Mylar from the cap of the repair, and apply a security coat to the buff surface, the over buff around the repair to restore the inner liner, or you can use a butyl liner sealer. Step 15, remove or cut the stem off on the outside. And then step 16, you can reapply the foam. How you do this is it's in our instructions, techtirerepairs.com, but you can put security coat down or the butyl sealer across the whole section that you cut out on the tire, and it'll create enough adhesive to put that foam back in. Next slide, please. And then, so the tire we just showed you is more common for a sound suppression tire, where it has like two beads of adhesive on the outside of the sound deadening material. And that's how you repair the procedure that I just went through is how you repair that. A less common sound suppression tire is this example here, which is, I think this is a Continental, where it has a high tacky adhesive that runs the whole width of the sound suppression material. So here you do not buff or use a cleaner, okay? Because if you buff that tacky stuff, it'll go everywhere and it'll gum up your tool. So here you just scrape it and don't buff it, just scrape it, don't use any cleaner, and then go through the repair process like I showed before. Next slide, please. So in summary, we talked about electric vehicle sales and their future forecasts, sound suppression tires, why they're important for electric vehicles, how they're constructed, and how to repair them. So that's all I have. And then we wanted to go back to Joe and open up the Q&A.
Thanks, Brent, for a terrific presentation, walking us through some of the steps to repair a sound suppression tire. At this point, we're ready for your questions. You can email your questions to tbevents@crane.com, and you'll see across the bottom of your screen there that email address. Or if you're watching along via LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, you can use those platforms to send us your questions. Brent, I'll just start with a simple one. Basically, you mentioned all the steps to repair a sound suppression tire. Where can you find tire repair training resources? Online or somewhere else, or how does that work?
Yeah, so techtirerepairs.com. On our website, we have a tab at the top that says training. Just select that, and we have within the training portion of our website, we have all the charts that you need for the repair process, similar to this one here, as well as any specific training materials like for sound suppression tires. So all those resources are on our website. So yeah, just techtirerepairs.com.
Terrific. Let's talk a little bit about sound suppression tires with EVs. What impact do they have on tire wear, essentially? Is it similar to what you see with a standard tire, or is it different?
It's actually different. We've talked to a lot of the tire manufacturers, and they've all said the same thing. Because of the increased weight of these vehicles and the torque, the instant torque you get with an electric motor, they're finding that the tires are wearing about 30% faster, which is good for us. We're good for the tire industry because you'll sell more tires. I guess the consumer will have to buy more tires, but it is having an impact because of the power that these vehicles are making and how much they weigh. Interesting.
Do they affect time to repair or price of repairing these tires too with EVs with sound suppression tires anyway?
Yeah, we found that some shops are charging more to repair these tires than just a standard tire repair, just because it's a more labored process removing the sound deadening material and reapplying it, and it's more specialized as well.
Terrific. That's all good to know anyway. Are you finding most of these are OE standard right now, OE on, where if you're buying a electric vehicle of some kind, you're getting the sound suppression tire put on automatically. Is that becoming more and more common?
Yes, yeah. All the Teslas come with them as OE, and the all the other manufacturers we're finding are following suit. And we're also finding that the educated consumer, which a lot of the EV drivers are very educated. They spend a lot of time on the forums, especially Tesla drivers, are requesting these tires to go back on their vehicles because they want that same quiet cabin experience.
Great. Well, we have a few questions that came in via our email site, and you can still email us at tbevents@crane.com. First of all, a question that came in, are self-sealing tires repaired in the same way as these?
Yeah, they're actually a similar way. Yeah, very similar to the Continental example that I showed at the end, where it has that high tacky adhesive holding in the sound deadening material. Yeah, you don't want to buff that. Self-sealing tires have that high tacky self-sealing stuff on the inner liner, so you don't want to buff that or spray any cleaner on it. So you just scrape it and apply the repair, similar to how I talked about with the Continental tire. And that we actually have a self-sealing tire manual on our website as well, in the training portion of our website. So it's a very similar process.
Question that came in via our YouTube platform for Tire Business. Do electric vehicles create more wear on tires? Use of electric vehicles with these tires, is that the case?
Yeah, they do. Or they're finding, tire manufacturers are finding with the instant torque and the added weight of the batteries, the total vehicle weight is up, and that the power that electric vehicles make and it off the line are causing tires to wear quicker.
Question also came in by email. Are sound suppression tires more expensive than the normal tires?
Yes, they are. That kind of like EVs, I would expect as they as more manufacturers offer them, the price will go down, but they do tend to be more. How much more, I can't tell you. You could do some quick research online to figure that out, but they do cost more than a standard tire.
We talked a little bit about legislation. Think about tax incentives, primarily a $7,500 tax credit that you can get on most EVs these days, except for maybe Tesla. Is there legislation in place or upcoming that will drive the consumer shift to electric vehicles?
Yeah, so there's a lot of states that offer their own tax credits as well. So if you're looking at EVs, make sure you do your research to see what your state offers. And like I mentioned, California, they're not going to have any sales of internal combustion new cars by 2035. I know New York has some legislation similar that is being reviewed right now. Maryland is not going to have any new gas stations going forward. We expect other states to follow suit. And then there's the HOV lanes. I know a lot of states offer, if you have an EV, you can drive in a high occupancy vehicle lane on the freeway without and only having having more than one person in the car if you're in an EV. So there's a lot of legislation that's already been enacted and is coming up to help the consumer.
One last question. I know you could probably answer this in a lengthier answer, but I'll ask it maybe simply. Are there other new tire technologies that you are looking at the future, either for EVs or generally, that seem to be top of mind right now?
Yeah, so recently we've seen a lot of emphasis put on non-pneumatic tires or airless tires. Right now they're only offered in like construction applications or off-the-road applications, ATVs, applications like that. But Michelin and GM entered a partnership last year to really focus on non-pneumatic tires. So that's something that's been brought up before, but it looks like it's being ramped up quite a bit. And that'd be a game changer for the industry. So everybody needs to pay attention to that. And then a lot of sensors in tires. And I know Goodyear's making a big push on connecting the consumer and the fleet owner with what's going on with their tire, if it needs to be replaced, if it's low on air, if it's running hot. There's a lot of new sensor technology coming out to really connect the tire to its owner.
Terrific. Well, we're out of time for today with questions. I think I'll end by asking you if you have any parting thoughts that you want to leave the audience with concerning this subject or anything else about tech.
Yeah, I just, it's really important that the tire repair process is not the simplest thing out there. And it can cause a lot of problems if it's done improperly. Mainly, it's important that it's done properly to keep your customers safe. So this Tech University online offering that we have now is targeted at keeping you safe and keeping your technicians trained and keeping your customers safe. So please check it out, techtireRepairs.com. And we also offer, not only do the technicians get trained, but we offer point of sale material to keep, to let your customer know that you're doing a proper tire repair at your shop. And we have, so we have a chart that we'll send you, and then we have a video that you can play in your shop as well. But
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Well, that's terrific. As someone myself owns a EV plug-in hybrid Ford Fusion, I am seeing more on the road. I'm sure I felt like an outlier for a while, but now there seems to be more occurring in North America anyway.
Yeah, they're here, and they're going to continue to grow.
For sure. Well, thanks again to Brent Klomparens of Tech for filling us in on sound suppression tires. If you have additional questions, you can reach out directly to Brent. And his email address you'll find on the screen below. So please email Brent. He'd be glad to help you with any questions or talk to you a little bit more about repairing sound suppression tires for EVs or elsewhere. I also want to thank you for watching our Tire Business Ask the Expert series this week. These sessions will be available for registered viewers to watch anytime on the Tire Business website. That's www.tirebusiness.com. If you're interested in presenting an Ask the Expert live stream session with Tire Business, please send an email to tbevents@crane.com. We'd love to talk to you about that. I'm Joe Pryweller with Tire Business. Stay tuned for a word from our sponsor.
Tech has launched Tech University Online. That's right, you can now access our awesome training videos 24/7, 365. For all of you tire techs with a cell phone and a little extra time in the shop, show 'em, Billy. There it is. Shop owners, you can also train your entire team for a full year with just a small annual fee. But don't take my word for it. Visit techtirerepairs.com, go to that upper right-hand corner, and check out a great promotion. Does it get any better than TechU Online?